What if your 30s weren't about having it all figured out, but about finally figuring out what actually matters? In your 20s, it's easy to chase shiny things, titles, parties, followers. But something shifts in your 30s. The stakes are higher, the distractions are louder, and time feels faster. This decade is your foundation. What you build now will echo into your 40s, 50s, and beyond. I'll show you exactly what to focus on in your 30s, before it's too late. No fluff, no hustle culture cliches, just real, practical wisdom that your future self will thank you for. Let's get into it. Your 30s are a financial fork in the road. Most people don't realize it until it's too late. This isn't about driving a Tesla or hitting six figures. It's about control. Control over your time, your options, and your future. This is the decade where compound interest quietly starts deciding who thrives later in life and who panics at 50. If you start investing $500 a month at 30 instead of 40, you don't just save 10 more years. You end up with hundreds of thousands more in retirement. That's not a theory. That's just math. And yet, we obsess over saving $20 on a flight, while ignoring the thousands we lose by not automating our saving. We'll spend hours reading reviews on a $200 gadget, but won't spend 20 minutes opening a Roth IRA. It's like researching the best umbrella while your roof is caving in. Here's what actually matters. Start saving now, even if it's small. Set up automatic contributions. Cut what doesn't serve you. And most importantly, stay consistent. A 1% improvement now will beat a 10% scramble later. Your financial focus in your 30s isn't about beating the market. It's about using time to your advantage. Because time is the one asset you'll never get back. And the person most qualified to protect your future isn't a financial advisor. It's you. The more you understand money, how it works, where it leaks, how it grows, the more power you have to shape your life on your terms. Ask yourself this: am I building a lifestyle that looks good today, or a financial life that feels good tomorrow? The difference will define your next 30 years. In your 20s, you chase job titles, logos, and clout. But in your 30s, the game changes. Suddenly, it's not about looking impressive. It's about feeling aligned. This is the decade when people either double down on careers they hate or finally pivot to something that fuels them. Don't waste this window. Here's the hard truth. The people you admire at 40 didn't get there by accident. They made bold moves in their 30s. They took risks when they still had the freedom to recover. That might mean switching industries, starting a side hustle, or walking away from a job that drains them, even if it pays well. The biggest career regret isn't failure. It's staying stuck. It's playing safe in a role you hate because you're afraid of uncertainty. But staying put is a risk too. A silent one that slowly erodes your creativity, your joy, and your sense of purpose. Start asking better questions. Does my work align with my values? Do I feel energized or exhausted after a typical day? Am I building skills that will still matter in 10 years? Or just clocking hours on autopilot? Human skills like communication, empathy, and judgment are future-proof. They'll compound in value, while many technical skills will fade fast. That's why developing those now, while testing new paths, is crucial. And don't wait until you need a network to start building one. The best time to connect with people is when you don't need anything. Opportunities don't just come from effort, they come from relationships. Your 30s are a launch pad. This is your chance to stop climbing ladders leaning against the wrong wall. Redefine what success means for you and build a career that serves your life, not the other way around. By the time you hit your 30s, your social circle has already begun to shift. Some friends fade out, others grow closer, and new relationships appear. But now, it's time to be intentional. In this decade, it's not about quantity anymore. It's about quality. The people you surround yourself with will shape your mindset, your energy, and your long-term happiness. You've probably heard that strong relationships are the biggest predictor of long-term well-being. And it's true. The Harvard study of adult development followed people for over 80 years and found that those who were happiest in their relationships at age 50 were the healthiest at age 80. Not the richest, not the most accomplished, the most connected. So how do you build that? You curate. You double down on the friendships that energize you, the ones where you can be fully yourself. You let go of the ones that only drain you or hold you in old versions of who you used to be. You also start nurturing the relationships that really matter, especially with your partner and your family. In your 30s, the dynamic with your parents begins to shift. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's profound, but having patience, compassion, and presence with them becomes a gift, not just for them, But for you and your romantic relationship, that's no longer just about chemistry. It's about compatibility, growth, communication, and whether you make each other better. Learn their love language, not just for fun, but because it's how they actually feel loved and how you can love them better. Stop saying you have no time for friends while spending hours scrolling social media. That's like being hungry and throwing out the groceries. Schedule time with people who matter. The best conversations don't happen in 30-minute slots. They unfold when you're fully present, unhurried, and disconnected from distractions. Let go of the idea that you need to please everyone. In your 30s, the real question is, who are my people? And am I giving them the energy they deserve? In your 20s, your body is forgiving. You can skip sleep, eat garbage, and bounce back like nothing happened. But in your 30s, not so much. This is when your body starts keeping score, and the habits you build now determine how you'll feel in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. The good news? You don't need perfection. You need consistency. Forget the 30-day hardcore fitness challenges you hate. What matters is the simple daily habit you can actually stick to for years. A 10-minute walk every day will transform your health more than a perfect workout plan you quit after a week. The same goes for your diet. You don't need a new trend. You need balance. More whole foods, more water, fewer things that come in plastic wrappers. It's not about looking like an influencer. It's about having the energy, focus, and strength to live a life that matters to you. Mental health becomes even more important. In your 30s, pressure builds. From career, from relationships, from responsibility. That means stress isn't a glitch in the system. It is the system unless you build in ways to manage it. Meditation, therapy, journaling, nature walks. Whatever helps you process emotions and reset your mind is now non-negotiable. And then there's sleep. If you're still treating sleep like an optional luxury, you're sabotaging every other area of your life. In your 30s, sleep becomes the foundation. Not getting enough isn't just making you tired. It's making you more anxious, more forgetful, and more vulnerable to illness. Don't wait for a wake-up call. Your body is already giving you whispers. Tight shoulders, low energy, headaches, irritability. Pay attention now, or pay the price later. The most important health question in your 30s isn't, how do I get abs? It's, what small, sustainable actions can I take today that my future self will thank me for every single day? Your 20s are all about proving something to others, to yourself, to society. But your 30s? That's when you realize the real battle is internal. Your mindset becomes the silent architect of your future. And if you don't shift it now, you'll keep running in circles, chasing outcomes with the wrong beliefs. The biggest shift? Moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. In your 20s, you might have believed that your intelligence, talents, and personality were set in stone. But in your 30s, you start to see the truth. Everything can be improved if you're willing to do the work. You're not stuck. You're just not learning the right way yet. Learning to say no is also crucial. Not no with guilt, not no with 17 explanations. Just no, because your time and energy are finite. We say yes to too many things we secretly resent, and then wonder why we're exhausted and unfulfilled. Your 30s are when you stop trying to please everyone and start trying to honor yourself. Another shift? Failure. In your 20s, failure feels like a verdict. In your 30s, it becomes a teacher. The willingness to fail, to really put yourself out there and mess up, is directly linked to your capacity to grow. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. Let go of perfection. Let go of toxic relationships. Let go of outdated stories about who you are and what you're capable of. The beliefs that held you back in your 20s don't have to follow you into the next decade. The most important mindset question in your 30s isn't how can I be perfect? It's how can I be perfectly imperfect and still move forward with clarity, intention, and courage. Time hits different in your 30s. You start noticing that while the days feel long, the years fly by faster than ever. And suddenly, you realize, time isn't just something you manage. It's something you must protect. Most people spend their 30s chasing urgency, putting out fires, responding to emails, rushing from one thing to the next. But here's the trap. Urgency doesn't equal importance. And if you don't start prioritizing what truly matters now, you'll wake up in your 40s wondering where the decade went. Time affluence. The feeling that you have enough time is more valuable than money, yet we trade it away constantly. We fill every gap with scrolling, multitasking, or overcommitting to things we don't even care about. It's like being rich and spending it all on junk you don't need. Real productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but better. Create white space in your calendar. Schedule nothing. That's where your creativity, clarity, and deepest insights are hiding. Not in the chaos, but in the calm. Set fierce boundaries, not just with other people, but with yourself. Don't check your phone first thing in the morning. Don't let every notification interrupt your focus. Don't let the digital world steal your real life. Time isn't just slipping away. It's being taken bit by bit unless you fight to keep it. The most important time question in your 30s isn't, how can I get more done? It's how can I focus on what actually matters and have the courage to let go of the rest? By the time you hit your 30s, society has already painted a picture of what your life should look like. A nice house, a stylish wardrobe, perfect social media posts, and weekend getaways that scream success. But here's the truth. There's a massive difference between an impressive life and a meaningful one. This decade isn't about curating your life for the approval of others. It's about designing it around what actually makes you feel alive. That starts at home. Not some Instagram perfect setup, but a space that brings you peace, supports your habits, and helps you recharge. A calm home creates a calm mind, and that affects everything. Then there's travel and experiences. Don't wait for someday. Someday isn't promised. While you're relatively free and mobile, choose moments that stretch your perspective and deepen your understanding of the world. Don't travel for photos, travel for growth. Your digital life matters too. The content you consume is shaping your beliefs, moods, and even your self-worth. Be intentional with your information diet. If your feed is making you anxious, angry, or insecure, it's not worth it, no matter how entertaining it is. Build routines that serve you, not restrict you. The best habits don't feel like punishment. They feel like freedom. And the right structure doesn't limit possibility. It creates it. The 30s are your opportunity to stop reacting and start designing a lifestyle that actually energizes and supports you. The most important lifestyle question in your 30s isn't, how does this look to others? It's, does this help me become the person I actually want to be? In your 20s, purpose often feels like a grand destination, some magical career path or life mission you're supposed to discover overnight. But in your 30s, you realize it's not a lightning bolt. It's a quiet unfolding. This is the decade where your original dreams either come true, change, or fade. And that's okay. It creates space for something deeper, alignment. Purpose isn't about impressing others. It's about living in a way that resonates with who you are, every single day. One powerful framework is Ikigai, the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. It's not just about passion or profit. It's about harmony, and it often shows up in the smallest choices: how you spend your mornings, how you treat people, what you say yes to. This is also the time to redefine success. Are you chasing it because it's yours, or because someone else told you it should be? Success without meaning feels empty. It's like finding a treasure chest full of someone else's gold. Interesting, maybe, but not fulfilling. Start contributing to causes that move you, not because it's trendy, but because it makes you feel connected to something bigger. The more your actions are rooted in genuine values, the less validation you need from the outside. The most important purpose question in your 30s isn't, am I successful enough? It's, am I living in alignment with what truly matters to me? Your 30s are when information begins to turn into wisdom. It's no longer just about what you know. It's about how you live what you know. You start realizing there's a difference between reading about boundaries and actually setting them, between knowing stress is harmful and choosing to step away from it. One of the most underrated skills you can develop in this decade is discernment, knowing when to trust logic and when to trust your gut. Intuition and reason are both powerful, but real wisdom is knowing when to use which one. You begin to embrace contradictions instead of fearing them. Structure creates freedom. Vulnerability builds strength. Slowing down can help you move faster. These paradoxes, once frustrating, now start to make sense. We're wired to crave clear answers, but the truth is, life isn't binary. Most of it lives in the gray zone. It's like trying to define the ocean by describing one wave. Fascinating, sure, but never the full picture. Practicing mental rehearsal, visualizing not just success, but your response to obstacles, builds real resilience. You learn to spot your own emotional triggers, to pause, and to choose a response instead of reacting. That's the beginning of true self-mastery. The most important wisdom question in your 30s isn't, what else should I know? It's, how can I embody what I already know in a deeper, more intentional way? Your 30s are not about having it all together. They're about putting the right pieces in motion. This decade is your runway, your foundation, and what you choose to focus on now will shape everything that comes next. So choose intentionally, not for society, not for social media, but for the version of you that looks back at 50 and says, "Thank you." If this helped you, even a little, drop a like and share it with someone else in their 30s. And if you're ready for more practical wisdom that makes life simpler, you know what to do.